This would be Monday, October 20th. We're going to take a look at the beginning of short stories and fun stuff like that. Information coming up this week. Focus. There we go. Wear orange on Wednesday for the anti-bullying. Short week, no ties, B points, grades, fun stuff like that. With notebook coming up. You can also, once again, go on MrBrovicast.com and you can do the notebook check. The information will be on there too. If you can't see it here, you can find it there in the top, so we're on the top right of the page. With short stories, we're moving on from poetry, although we will still make references to stuff, the similes, metaphors, irony, stuff like that. It'll still be popping up with short stories. But we get to introduce new stuff to you with short stories also. But it's stuff that I've mentioned before, like plot. I mentioned that with a couple of the poems as we went through and we would talk about what the plot of a poem was. So, since I'm going to be having your notebooks here shortly, and I want you to make sure that you have things that you get to hold on to as far as quizzes and tests that you can use them to cheat accurately, that's where that handout comes in. So, I'm going to have you fill in the handout with this information to try and make your life a little bit easier. The first one is plot. Do you guys know what the plot is? We do. Carson?
Isn't it the main idea?
Close. That's closer to theme, but you're on the right track. Zach?
So the story takes place and...
Close. That's setting.
When?
Soapy?
It's like what's going to happen in the book?
Not bad. The what happens in a story? So the plot is just telling you what happens in the story. And we'll set it up as like an outline of the 5 things that occur in it. As an example, you did the poem Custer the Dragon for the test. If I were to give you the plot of Custer the Dragon, I would have to go through and tell you what happens in it. The story, Gesundheit, starts off with, let's see, Custer, all the animals making fun of Custer. Yes?
You have like this piece of like
fuzzy thing?
Yeah.
I'm distracted. Ooh, it is. Fuzzy. Exciting. So you have all of the animals making fun of Custard, and then, let's see, Custard's making fun of Custard. Custard's a wimp. Who shows up in the poem then?
Pirate.
What's the pirate try to do?
Rob.
Pirate shows up to try and kill a little girl, because that's what pirates do. Who stands up to the pirate?
Custard.
Custard stands up to the pirate and eats him. And then how do the other animals treat Custard at the end? Yeah, they're like high-fiving him and giving him hugs and stuff like that. So that would be the plot of the story. Just sort of tells you what happens in there. Then we go to the setting. Sorry, we go to the characters, which is not setting. How silly of me. What are characters in a story? Cameron?
Like the people who are mainly in it, like the main character.
Works for me. Bogart?
The person or thing that's doing the action in the story.
Not bad either. I like that. Like it.
The people or animals in the story.
Nicely done. I just went for the who in the story. If you can tell me it's the who, that's what I'm going for. Sometimes it's people, sometimes animals, sometimes they can even be objects or vehicles. Like if you had a train that would teach kids little stories and hang out with the guy in a top hat. We'd call it Thomas, stuff like that. Sometimes it can even be kitchen cleaning stuff, like a sponge that likes to wear pants and is in the ocean. You can be like that. Normally a sponge would not be a character. If you have someone like just cleaning their sink, like it's a sponge, you're like, oh, that's fascinating. But in SpongeBob, then sponge would be an actual character. Yes, dear.
so characters now.
Yes. From our poem, Custer the Dragon, we had a whole bunch of characters in there. Who was the main character? Custer. How would you describe him? He was?
Shy.
Works for me. He was shy and a wussy. And then we have, who's the bad guy that shows up?
Pirate.
How would you describe him?
Evil.
Evil, likes to kill little girls. And then, name one of the character.
Red.
The girl.
The girl, does she have a name?
It starts with a B.
It does, and right.
B-E.
Belinda.
Belinda.
Belinda, who is the little girl. And then one more.
Custard.
We did Custard.
Mustard.
And who's Mustard?
Mustard.
Nice one. Mustard the dog. That's what I'm looking for characters. Excuse me. Alright, then setting. There are 2 parts to setting. Arnold, what are my 2 parts to setting?
Time and place.
Nicely done, Arnold. When, where, or time and place. The when and the where, or the boys. Either one works for me. With Custer the Dragon, sticking with our theme so far, for the win, I have no idea. Time period would be when they have houses, because we know we have a house. Other than that, there's nothing really that I figured out. I would guess daytime, because a little girl is awake, and usually little girls are asleep at night. So I guess daytime. The where we can figure out though, because that one's right there at the very beginning of the poem. Where does the poem take place?
House.
Nice one. In a little white house. So where would just be like the house. So the setting is the when and the where. Yeah. Our next one's a little tougher. That would be point of view. Arr. Matthew?
If it's first person, second person, or third person.
Nicely done.
who's telling the story?
Yeah, it tells you who's telling. I put how the plot is told to us. The point of view is how the plot is told to us in the story, or how we see the story. There are 3 different types of point of view that we're going to take a look at, which are the ones you have listed down below. It says first person, third person limited, third person omniscient. Mr. Brovicast, you forgot one. Second person, which we're not going to use. That's why it's not on there. The second person is the one that we don't do. Zach, omniscient.
Yeah, me.
We're going to get that in just a moment. First person, third person limited, third person omniscient. First one, first person. How is a first person story told? Grant?
It's talking, the person who's talking is the main character.
Nicely done. The main character tells us the story. So it's the main character talking to us.
Never mind.
Oh, we'll get there in a moment. As an example, if I were to tell you a story in first person, I was walking down the street yesterday when a ninja jumped out. And the ninja came running at me, shaking his sword. And I said, "What's up, ninja?" And the ninja said, "I'm going to get you." So I throat punched the ninja right in his throat, and he fell over, and then I woke up because I realized I was dreaming. So that would be first-person story. I'm telling you, it sounds like it's something that actually happened. You're like, really? I'm like, no, it's just a story. Third person, both limited and omniscient, are different from first person because they're not told the same way. Con?
Third person, it's like, first of all, it's kind of like a narrator,
Yes.
and second, it's like what the reader knows about the person, that's what they're talking about. And omniscient is when the narrator knows everything about the characters, and you don't even know that much.
You got the big word, the narrator. Narrator for the third person limited tells the story instead of the main character. It's a narrator talking to us. The big thing about limited is you are limited to how many characters it follows. And how many characters can limited follow?
1.
1. You can have other characters in the story. It just means that you only follow one character, as in you only know their thoughts and thinking. So my same story now, Joey was walking down the street yesterday when Joey came around a corner and a ninja jumped out. And the ninja started shaking his sword at him, and Joey said, "Oh no!" And Joey ran down the street to get his friends. And his friends, Bobby and Johnny, came out too. And Bobby, Johnny, and Joey all ran up there and started throat punching the ninja. Throat punch, throat punch, throat punch. And eventually the ninja passed out, and then they woke up. That's being told by the third person. Mr. Brovicast, you had his friends in there. I did, but it's still just following him as he talks to his friends. Omniscient, instead of following one character,
You follow all of them.
nicely done, as many as you want. The narrator tells the story and follows many characters. So instead of following one character, it's going to follow a whole biggity bunch of them. As an example, sticking with our ninja story, because ninjas are just fun. Joey was walking down the street and he came around a corner and he saw a ninja. And the ninja looked at Joey. "I'm going to go stab that child. This is going to bring me happiness," the ninja thought. And the ninja turned around and waved to his friend, Leroy. And he said, "Leroy, come with me." And Leroy is like, "I'm going to go stab a kid too." And Leroy and first ninja, who doesn't have a name, ran up there and attacked Joey. And Joey ran away screaming because all of a sudden the ninja had a friend. There, jumps around from person to person to person. Yay, ninjas. As an example, to help you out, we have examples. And we'll see if you can figure out what point of view this would be. Where it says, Zach repeated the phrase to himself again as he glanced at the numbers scrawled on the piece of paper clutched in his hand. As long as he kept his cool and didn't look suspicious, he'd be fine. This would be easy. It'd been easy the first several times he'd done it, and it would be as easy for him as long as he kept his cool. Well, first off, is it first person or third person? We have a narrator, or is the main character talking to us? Christian?
Narrator.
Nicely done. So does that make it first person or third person? Don't you steal Christian's answer. Good job, Christian. It'd be third person. Then is it limited to one character, or is it omniscient, or it has multiple characters? Sophie? Nicely done. Limited to just the one character in this one. Let's see what we have for our next one. On the night of the day on which this cruel deed was done, I was aroused from sleep by the cry of fire. The curtains of my bed were in flames. The whole house was blazing. It was with great difficulty that my wife, my servant, and myself made our escape from the inferno. The destruction was complete. My entire worldly wealth, blah, 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 blah. Travis?
First.
How you know it's first?
Because he says I, we, or hold up. I, my, and yeah.
Nicely done. So it's the main character talking directly to us. Christian?
There's an alliteration in it.
Where?
It says worldly wealth was.
Nicely done. Guys, look at you being all smart and stuff like that. Nicely done, you. And let's see. From the poem Maggie and Millie and Molly and May was a good example. Another point of view where it says, Maggie, Millie, and Molly and May went down to the beach to play one day, and Maggie discovered a shell that sang, so really to remember her troubles. Millie befriended a stranded star whose rays 5 languid fingers war, and Molly was chased by a horrible thing which raced sideways. May came home with a smooth round stone. Blah 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 blah. Bogart.
Third person omniscient,
And why do you say third person omniscient?
because at the beginning it says the people's thing, and it's more than one person.
Nicely done. Yeah, it's hard to find a good example of omniscient where it jumps around in a short area. This one jumps around from character to character. Zach,
There's alliteration in there.
where's alliteration in this one?
The first line.
Maggie and Millie and Molly and May. What's the alliterated sound?
My money.
Nicely done.
My money.
Alright. We will take a look at this one tomorrow. If you get too excited.
It's first person.
And we're going to finish out the other examples tomorrow and stuff like that. You only have, well, 2 homework assignments. One of them is a reading log. One real homework assignment for me, and it's one that you should already have done. But what's your only real homework assignment?
Yeah, content.
Not just the table of contents. The whole notebook.
Oh.
The whole notebook. I'll take them from you tomorrow. I know. But double check, make sure your notebook is all good. Once that's turned in and your reading log, then you're good. That's all I have homework-wise for you. Alright. There. On my desk. I'll take it from you.